Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everyone's doing well. It's Tuesday. We got a State of the Union coming up at 9 o'clock. That's too late. They got to move these State of the Unions up. You know, I get up at 5. Oops. All right. The Tesla wanted to make the wrong turn there, so I had to intervene. So we continue after that brief disruption. I get up at around 5. Then today I went to the CrossFit gym. So it's pretty intense, and 9 p.m. is no good. You need rest, you need sleep. I like waking up early, especially when you have small kids. Get more time to organize your thoughts. Get in the office at 7 a.m. too with the team, and you get a jump ahead of the news. And I share a lot of commentary on Telegram in the morning most days, and then somewhere like before the close. So it's a great way to just organize your thoughts. A couple of quick market observations. So first off, there's this phenomena I pointed out where when companies report earnings, it doesn't matter if the earnings are good, the fundamentals are good, they just generally sell off. It's still happening. Melly reported strong numbers due to their free delivery maneuver, stock dropped. Workday, strong numbers, SaaS, stock dropped. Kava, strong numbers, stock up. The difference being, though, I believe that Kava wasn't as crowded as other names because it already had gone through its bear market. So that phenomena of these stocks dropping after they report earnings continues. We saw this in Halo last week. Halo is a great business. We sold half of it. All right, the Tesla fucked up twice now here. I think maybe it's trying to take me home or something. Wrong address. Oh, let's do it. Let me try. Okay, I think we're good now. Back. No animals or deer were hurt. So that phenomena is still happening. Like when a stock reports, it drops. Why does it drop? There's not much liquidity. There's not much of a bid. So to attract liquidity, the stock price drops. It's my theory. Observation number 2 I'll share with you. After these stocks drop, they're good businesses and they do report good fundamentals, they appear to be good buying opportunities. Like look at what happened to S&P Global, Moody's, and ICE. Okay, dropped after earnings. They're actually kind of recovering, looking pretty interesting. And so that's an observation. It's not clear cut across the board that happens, but it's a new observation we're looking into. What else? There were signs of life in animal spirits today in certain parts of the market, like around certain drone-related themes. Not all themes, but Robinhood was up a bit today. Also, Palantir was down. Palantir is down like 38% from its all-time high. I remember in I think mid-December or Thanksgiving, I was sharing that Palantir was in a bear market and Robinhood was down 20%. Now it's down 38%. Don't buy the dip. Buying the dip is not healthy for you. I created this buy the dip indicator I mentioned a few days ago. I don't think you should be buying the dip. Wait till after earnings. Software. Let's talk about software a bit. We did this study this morning. The last time software was this oversold when we started this morning was the day before Liberation Day. It's that oversold. So there's a reasonable probability that software is bottomed. It's all probability though, and not all software, because a lot of software is still expensive. If you saw names like HubSpot, which we own, go up like 6 or 7%, kind of continuing its rally, that's a good sign. It was one day before Liberation Day. That's how oversold it was. But we're not going to get a Liberation Day tomorrow. So that's why it's probably the bottom. We will get the State of the Union though, tonight. I'll probably be in bed by 9:30 or 10, so I'll pick up most of it tomorrow. Or if you're on the Lumina Invest app, just check the Trump watch feed on the app. It'll give you real-time updates on what's going on. It's super, super cool. It'll save you all the time lost in applause, so you can get some of your time back. What else to share out there? The main theme that we expect and continue to see is this breadth expansion, like the long tail opportunities. Here's an example. KIE is the ETF for equal weight insurance. It looks interesting right now. Like, if I were buying something, I would want to look at that. If you want something defensive with some upside, but you compare that to the large caps, it's not as interesting. Here's another example. Look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ up a point today, but primarily driven by equal weight components, which would include things like software, less large cap components. So continue to see this rotation from large cap to small caps, but overall and across the board kind of rally, inverse to what you saw yesterday where you had across the board sell off. And I think those are my main kind of market highlights that I have for you. Do you guys like Pet Shop Boys? This is a great song. Always on my mind. Markets are always on my mind. Always on my mind. It's the biggest puzzle in the world. What else? So, yeah, let me know if you have any questions here. Can we make this interactive? TSM doing well. TSM seems to be the beneficiary of the concerns around, CapEx spend sustainability, and they seem to have the less risk. They're farther away from the commodity bullwhip. Microsoft is down 18% from where it was 3 months ago. That's pretty serious, right? Think about that, 18%. That was the magnitude of the March-April tariff-mageddon correction. And the reason why they're down 18% is that they're the principal backer of OpenAI, right? They're the backstop. They're the Fed for OpenAI. But now they're saying no mas. They let Amazon get in bed with OpenAI. OpenAI is going to have a commercial agreement with Amazon that's known, that's disclosed. Wonder what other rights Amazon get. So that's showing you that you are at limits. Capital markets are getting fed up. The strategic partners of OpenAI are saying we can't do it anymore. And public markets are pressuring Microsoft and their share price. All right. Cost of financing is going up. One of the most interesting problems in markets is this conundrum of you have AI apocalypse everywhere. Anything touches AI. Anthropic has a headline, IBM stock price drops, SaaS drops. It's AI, that's the AI apocalypse thing, right? Consulting companies drop. And then the other is AI apocalypse is a story about the promise and opportunity of AI. It's a bullish story for AI, saying AI is going to eat the world. But the other side of the story is the spending is too much. There's not a fast enough return on CapEx. You can't trust your counterparties in OpenAI and Anthropic. Private credit's overextended, lending too much to these companies. Now data centers aren't getting the funding they need. That's the other story. It's the AI's bubble story. Well, which of these two worlds is true? It's an interesting question. A better question is which view is not priced correctly. That's the right way to think about it from a consensus, non-consensus poker player perspective. Which view is cheaper or mispriced? That's the right way to think about markets, actually. It's actually not about whether you're right or wrong, but you have to have a point of view, okay? And what your point of view is relative to the market. And is your view cheaper or more expensive than what the market's giving you, okay? Well, let's go through this now. So AI apocalypse, death of SaaS, I think that a lot of that's overblown, but there are a lot of companies in SaaS who are still expensive. Like MongoDB has 60 times earnings, I think that we're in a slow takeoff world. You are seeing limits to AI in a lot of places, actually. Here's the other AGI test. I had this concept around 2 years ago, and I saw Demis from Google, who leads OpenAI. He had the same idea. It's like, if you can go back, train an LLM on pre-1915 data, would it come up with the general relativity? If yes, then you have AGI, true intuition, true discovery, something that's non-obvious, something that's not analytical and symbolic and simply processing grammar of language. I have another test. Stand-up comedy. AGI one of the tests for AGI is, can AGI do stand-up comedy? I think that's a really good test. This should be the next version of the Turing test. AI is terrible at comedy. It's terrible at humor. It can create a poem for you. It can create haikus. It can do all sorts of things that have structure and grammar and touch on certain notes, but it is really bad at humor. That's another kind of test, right? True creativity, true original stand-up comedy that reflects like the modern topics of the day. AI can't do that. I've tried. It's not good at that. That's synthesis, right? So novel architecture. AI can't do that, right? It can do great hybrids. It can do, combinations of things. So there's still a lot of imitations. Like the expectation is still high relative to delivery. I had a text message from a friend of mine. He was a former CTO at Amazon. Amazon has like many CTOs, by the way. It's a huge company. One of the top performers. He was actually the CTO in their cloud business. Superstar. Guy's a superstar. Just outstanding. Intellect, capability, doer. He was building on Raspberry Pi 10 years ago with his son. He's like just one of those individuals, tinkerer. And he texted me, he's like, yeah, you're right. This AI has potential, but we are ahead of expectations. It's going to take a lot more time. He's now the CTO at a top 3 publicly traded bank. He knows exactly what he's doing. One of the early adopters of these LLMs. They're doing different test pilots. So that's real world perspective. Okay. So I think the AI bubble story is a legitimate story, and the reason why. So how do I know that's true? Because capital markets are cutting off access to capital. That's it. Look at private credit stocks like Blue Owl. Look at the stock of Microsoft. Look at public market valuations on IPOs coming down. If Microsoft is down 18%, what do you think OpenAI would be down if it was publicly traded? It would be down versus the last round of 500 billion by maybe 40%, maybe 200 billion or something. I mean, maybe 250 billion. It would be down a lot, right? So that second story is a true story. So on the market reaction today, we had a number of hedges going into yesterday. We covered a bunch of them this morning. I wish we had a stronger rally. It was kind of uninspired. You could see more potentially, though. We'll see. A lot will turn on what Trump says tonight. Events actually matter. This is the mistake that pure technical analysts make. They look at a few lines on a chart and they say, well, this will happen. Well, no one knows what he'll say tonight. My guess is he'll have a program around housing, affordability. He will talk about tax cuts. That could be interesting for consumer discretionary, equal weight, because consumer discretionary looks very promising here. There's some good bargains in that category. It might be worth poking around in that category because consumer is strong. Consumer is strong. The interesting thing about these earnings reports is they're all strong. They're all strong. They got backlogs, revenue growth, earnings growth. Walmart's numbers are fine too. Everyone talks about concerns about the consumer or consumer anxiety is high. But fundamentally, the consumers are spending. You see that in the Visa data also. You saw that in the bank data. So the current situation isn't about the health of the consumer. It's about over-positioning in markets. And everyone came to the view that we, in fact, are in Goldilocks. And they came to that view at the same time, about 3 weeks ago. Okay? Everyone was all in. GDP had hit 5%. Everyone said, okay, I gotta get into this market. And that was the top for growth stocks. Somewhere between November to like middle of January, this was happening across different sectors. That was the top for a lot of these growth stocks, and many have transitioned to weaker markets and values outrunning them. Okay? There's so much snow here, it's unbelievable. You have no idea. I'm going to show you how much snow I got. Look at this. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the snow coming out here? It is really beautiful though when the snow lands on the trees though. It is amazing. You know, it is really, really something. I'm waiting for the snow robot cleaner. So more to come. You know, opportunities and themes that are interesting are Main Street themes, which is what Trump will talk about tonight also. It's, you know, there are ETFs around infrastructure and construction and other kinds of related ideas that are doing well. They don't know that there's a lot of violence and rotation under the surface. They don't know that. They're doing well. So I'll consider looking there. I mentioned small cap industrials yesterday. These are all Main Street themes. What else? I do think that there is heightened risk in the markets though. Like, you know, you need to see a strong push. You need to see a strong push upward. If that happens, it'll be reflexive and keep going. A lot will turn on tonight. I saw this post, I think Heisenberg shared, someone shared, it said they showed the top substacks, and the top substacks were all doomer substacks, like the Kobesi letter and Michael Berry, and the third was another doomer. Fear sells. That's why we have walls of worry. Kind of a fascinating thing, right? Fear sells. You know, walls of worry are a real concept. I'm not a doomer, haven't been, but in the last few weeks, I think everyone's around Goldilocks. Stocks are dropping when they report earnings, even on good numbers, and then you have this onset of economic populism and policy to run it hot, which doesn't help inflation, and then just other backdrop issues like Epstein, and then geopolitics around all this stuff. Iran doesn't help. Now, on the Iran thing, by the way, they've talked about this thing so much, it's going to become a nothing burger now. Like, if markets drop in Iran for a day, you're supposed to buy that, is my current view. They've been talking about it for so long. How is that not priced into markets now? It's priced into oil, which has gone up. Yeah, so those categories might sell off if something happened in Iran, paradoxically, right? It's been talked about too much. People have positioned around it, haven't they? Anyway, that's all I got. Make it a great evening. Let's chat about the State of the Union tomorrow. All right, good night.